Me and Gov were just talking about how this slate was kind of straightforward, and there's just some things that maybe we'll be able to give you in terms of edges and strategy, and we'll do so. But I noticed a lot of people are kind of doing a different content schedule, or maybe not even doing a show at all. And I'm like, well, at least we're doing one. And then Donnie got called into work just before we did the show, so it is going to look a bit different. But me and Gov will do a two-man show. We'll still be able to give you a lineup, and I think our player pools are so different. The way we think is different that the strategy alone will kind of come through just by talking through the slate. Gov, was there any like major points that you wanted to hit on? Because like I was telling you, just like I feel like we already know so much about these teams. For me, it's almost like pulling away. It's like almost finding my love again for football. Like I feel like the season is its own thing, and then the playoffs are like an entirely different thing. And sometimes if you don't take a deep breath in between, it can just feel like you're on this treadmill forever, which I love. But at some point, you need to get some water. So that's kind of what I'm doing this week. Is like I already know all the good plays. I need injury news. I need some major things, but I'm not trying to recreate the wheel. I guess this week is my main point.
Like it's like forget the teams that we can go through and have condensed player pools. Like you're down to 4 games.
Yeah,
like, you're down to what should be the best 8 teams left playing.
Yeah.
So like you're right. It's going to be more condensed. You know who the good plays are. There's only 2 or 3 of them. There's like one good play. It's like think about it in Showdown. There's like 1 or 2 captain picks, and then everyone else is a dart throw that you're trying to fill the lineup out with.
Yeah.
Well, now you have that times 4. So you have 8 good plays, and then you're just trying to fill it out with dudes who are actually playing. So you need injury reports and stuff.
And speaking of showdowns, I mean, that's what DraftKings, I mean, I will give them credit. There are single entries and some of their contests are still really good, but their main focus is showdown. If you look at their advertisement, how they are advertising this week, it is showdown, which are big in prize pools, so there is still money to be earned. One of the best DFS players this week actually called this week the last good week to play fantasy football, Utica. He was saying that, like this is the last big week for you to win like life-changing money, and like so we'll play through the Super Bowl. We'll have our fun. We'll kind of pay off our gimmicks and all that stuff. It'll still be a good time, but I think this is like the last good strategic week of the year.
Well, it's the real last like 2-game slate is too small. A 3-game slate is basically the smallest classic slate
right
you can play without guaranteeing a showdown scenario where you're getting duped 10, 12 times, and now that life-changing first place is still good. Like $1 million is still up top at first, but when you split it with 15 dudes, like 80K is still really nice, but it's not $1 million.
Right.
Like that's just how it becomes.
Even when I won, it was later in the year. It was more when the player pools were condensed, when people knew more information. Those slates are harder to get different on. And so in the playoffs, obviously, when you get better teams and teams that people have seen more, like they're usually the primetime games, the games that get shown on television. So I don't think we're going to get too sneaky here. I do think there's some good price points, though, and I do think there's mistakes that people can do just by trying to, like, jam in all the money, for example. Again, you probably shouldn't leave $2,000 to $3,000 on the table, but if you leave a couple hundred, that's not the end of the world, and I think some people still kind of zero out the lineup too much.
But that's something people should get over. Like even on a 7-game slate, people don't like leaving $300-$400 on the table.
Right.
Yeah, you kind of got to get over it there. Now, with 4 games, I don't think you're going to have a 2,000 salary leftover lineup. I think there will be plays that you can pivot to that will be as good, that should be low owned, all of that stuff.
I agree with that. I'm just saying that's like one of the micro level things that some people, they do automatically. They assume, well, I have this salary, so I have to spend it. That's not always true. Or like what you did last week, and you're like, well, I'm just more comfortable playing the showdown, so that's what I'm going to focus on, and that's what you did. And so I think there's plenty of good ways to attack this slate. Do you want to do a number generator? It doesn't matter to me what order we do.
No, because I figure we'll build a lineup a different way and not go back. But like, let's I figure since this could be a showdown slate, and that's how I did it last week, my process from last week might work out pretty good. So let's go through each game and just sort of like you said, like we know these teams, so like let's just be obvious. And what are each of these teams, and who would we be willing to play from this team in a vacuum?
Yeah.
So, let's start. So we have Buffalo and Denver as the first game of the slate. So when you think of the Buffalo Bills this season,
Yeah.
what is your first two thoughts?
Initially,
I was about to say, my first thought is, yeah, Josh Allen has been super.
Yeah.
Like legit super Josh. Like that yeah. Buffalo has had super Josh playing this year. I've seen it in multiple games during the regular season where he just put the team on his back and did it. The other thing I would say is they tried to give James Cook the rushing title and he got it.
Yeah.
That was the mentality I saw from Buffalo, is they tried to run the ball and give it to James Cook, and Josh Allen would just put the team on his shoulders with no wide receivers.
Yeah.
Do you have any disagreement or anything else to add to that?
I don't. The only thing I thought was, okay, Super Josh is here, but I can't afford Josh and his inconsistent up and down receivers when the price points are going to be great. But now we have the value because of all their injuries, so you can play Super Josh. I still think there's questions of who you play with him and does it work? But now it's affordable. Where early in the week, I didn't think it was affordable, and now it is. So that's off the table. So I agree with everything you said, as long as we stack them. But obviously,
what do you think about the Buffalo defense? Because that's the one I can't really get a thought on when I try to think about that during the regular season. It was just like, I don't remember them being spectacularly good, but apparently they weren't as bad as I think they are either.
That's the thing. I believe they gradually got better as time went on, and it was one of those gradual things you just don't notice until you realize, oh yeah, the canister is now full, and eventually their defense got to the point where it's like, oh, they've actually patched together good numbers. But that's a different argument to say that they're actually a good defense with all the other defenses available. I think Seattle is probably the best defense given how shaky San Francisco is, but we'll get there. But I think Buffalo would be a good low owned defense, I guess I would say.
Yeah, I could see as a cheaper low owned defense, I could definitely see the Bills in play. But that's where I start thinking, okay, so Buffalo's defense slightly getting better. Mm-hmm. Offense is definitely super Josh and James Cook. And like you said, with the injuries, they might have only 2 or 3 viable receivers, and they're pretty cheap. So it's viable to stack him with. On the other side, Denver.
Yep.
I kind of think Denver, and this is weird to say, because when I truly start looking at the team, I'm like, they wanted to run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
They had a 2-headed game. Dobbins got hurt. They kept trying to do guys. Harvey ended up taking it over and looking solid. Not great, but solid.
Solid, yeah.
Almost great. He could definitely take over that backfield in the future here.
He has the potential to be great, and I think that's what everyone's fallen in love with, which is a good thing to fall in love with. It just hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, it's close. He's getting work now late in the season. He's the only dude, and it's effective. So there's that. It's definitely not put it on Bo Nix's back and let him make plays like it is with Josh Allen.
No.
But it's also Bo Nix has had some pretty flashy, good Super Bo Nix games almost this year. 1 or 2.
He really has. That Giants game specifically still sticks out in my mind this year, just how that team got willed back. That wasn't the defense. That was Bo Nix actually having to do some things.
And that fourth quarter makes you forget that he was really bad those first 3, and they couldn't put up any points. And so that's weird because I really don't trust Denver's offense. But it's not going up against a defense I've been particularly enamored with all year either in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Now, on the other side, Denver's defense, I think, maybe a little overrated, overinflated, whatever the word is.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they're this top-tier defense. Honestly, of the 8 teams left, I'm not sure I have Denver's defense in the top 4. Like Houston, Seattle are 1-2. I'm not sure Denver is 3 or 4. Honestly.
The problem is, even if they were a good defense, even if we took that argument off the table, like defense is so variant anyways. There's so much variance in defense. And if you're going to tell me the perception is that Denver's defense is so much better than everyone else in the slate, or even on par with Seattle, which I would argue with, then it's like, well, that ownership is also going to inflate that balloon. And that's really what I want to stay away from in such a, when a position is already has so much variance, and then you're going to tell me that the ownership comes with it, I'm off the train. I might have missed it.
I don't. Again, I wasn't even thinking about it ownership wise. Like I'm literally just thinking about the games as teams. I'm not putting salaries. Like I'm not even thinking DFS when I'm talking about Denver and Buffalo this way. Not like I'm not talking about Denver's defense as in the defense you would play on the slate. I'm just literally talking about their defense on the year as a team. And in the playoffs, defense shows up. So I have to assume the high-end level of the defense in these games.
Yeah.
Like whatever Denver's defense has been the best of. So that's why I got to try to really pin it down. Like if they played where they're the third best defense, then they'll be the third best defense in the playoffs because that's what happens in the playoffs. You come and show up. Like the teams will be crisp. They will have time. They will play their best games in the playoffs. So like that's where it's like I know Buffalo's middle of the pack at best.
Yeah.
Denver could be the third best. And if Denver's the third best defense, then Super Josh has to be perfect to win this game. And you need him to be Super Josh. And I just don't know if you get that.
Especially the fact that even if they weren't great, they're literally going against some practice squad level guys at this point. I mean, we're talking about Coleman. I know is recognizable because he was a first round pick, but
he's also been not playing half the year because of how bad he is.
Yeah,
healthy scratch inactive. Coach's decision did not play.
Healthy scratch, like that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about bringing the corpse of old veterans like Samuel who have a name value but are still on the injury reserve because they were emergency bring ups essentially. So it's not even Super Josh with like talented guys that he's willing, like some of these guys he's making new introductions with are like, calling up old friends essentially and saying like, can you give me something here? And that's
old enemies if they call up Mecole Hardman.
Yeah, well, exactly. And it looks like they have. At least they've taken the injury designation off him, so that looks like it's going to happen. So that's what I mean. It's like at some point, like how super can the Superman be if this is his cast? We know Josh Allen is a good faith actor, but these are his weapons. That's got to matter at some point. On the flip side of that, Gov, we were talking about, cheap options. So in a DFS, we do know if you are playing Josh, you are probably playing one of these 3K guys. It could be,
you could have Knox or Kincaid, but Knox and Kincaid are also 3K-ish guys too. So you will have cheap receivers to stack Josh with, even though Josh could just be him, James Cook, and play him naked. Like that is still also viable with. Like his receivers are cheap enough where I think you need one of them with him, at least one, maybe just the one, but at least one.
Yeah, I think Donnie, just to bring him a bit into this conversation, we were talking a bit privately, and he was like, "Well, there's so much other value. We have Nico Collins, who we'll talk about here in a minute, being hurt or potentially missing that game. Do you need to get down to the value of the Bills?" And I think, to your point, to go back to defense, we could play Denver's defense and basically fade this game and say it's going to, all the marquee names are going to fail. Like Josh, it's going to be too much for Josh to lift. But if you're playing Josh Allen, you might need one of these cheap guys. Like if you want to fade this game and play it as a low total, that would be one way to get different. But to play Josh, I think you should probably play one of the cheap receivers.
I can agree with that. All right, the next game. I think we got a good feel for Buffalo and Denver.
Yeah, I would agree.
The next game, we have San Fran and Seattle. So San Francisco, that's a team. Like this year, with how injured they've been, like I'll admit, the game against Houston in the middle of the season, I had a feeling they'd lose that game, and looking at the schedule with guys in Discord past that, I had a thought they might only get to 9 or 10 wins at most and not make the playoffs. So for them to have busted off the wins they did, like, good on them. The Niners have been playing amazing, even though they've had the worst pass rush in the league, and I would say they are probably the worst defense left.
Yeah.
But McCaffrey's a beast, and the machine is working on offense.
Yeah, like I even have a Ben Johnson ticket for Coach of the Year that's probably not going to cash. But if you told me to recast my vote, or if I had a vote in that market, I think it is Shanahan. I think Shanahan's done. I mean, this might be the best coaching job he's ever done. And the way emotionally they lose, like Kittle, even like recent things that the coach has done to keep that team together. Like they lose
dealing
Kittle
with the disgruntled Ayuk all year.
All year. Well, that's what I was going to mention. He has had things all year, including that thing, injuries, like off the field.
Guys, and like Kittle didn't start the season. You got to remember, Kittle missed like the first 2 games, and now he gets hurt at the very end.
But he gets hurt at a comeback moment. Like it's already the playoffs. You're like, okay, he's injured, but he'll come back for the playoffs. And then this is the big moment. This is like that movie star kind of moment. He comes back and gets hurt, and that team stays together. That just speaks to how well the leadership is ran there.
Great coaching. Like that is going to be a tough out for anyone. I think the Niners, like, I see the Golden State sort of thing in them. Yeah. Like they get hot, and in the playoffs, yeah, they can cook.
Yeah, we talk about
hot, he can beat any team any night.
And we talk about the narrative of the Steelers and just how they had the Tomlin voodoo. I think it's very, very obvious right now. San Francisco is just playing at a level that only could be produced if you were coached by Shanahan. I will give them that credit. You are right, though. I think Christian McCaffrey is by far the best play on the slate. I just want to say that.
Agreed. He is my favorite pay up between like him, Puka, and JSN. Of the big 3, he's my favorite. And that's even like going to the other side of this game. Seattle's offense has looked pretty good. Darnold's had I would say a career year, and that's the best. Like Houston's very good. Seattle has the best defense left in the playoffs.
Yeah.
In my mind. So like that is a very tough out team. Like you have San Fran, who's going to be super well coached and is going to make adjustments because it's time 3 against Seattle. And then you have Seattle, who has just slowly been the most dominant team all year and finally got the 1 seed in the end.
Yeah, and they're frustrating. A team that I like to cheer for, and the Lions, did this a lot. We kind of got famous for it, where we had Gibbs and Montgomery, and what it did for DFS is like you couldn't play either one of them because Gibbs was priced as a superstar because he should have been, but he wasn't getting superstar workload. And I feel like that's what's happening with Seattle. Like you want to play their running game because they are really efficient and they are really great at it. Like especially outside zones, which is what Walker is good at, is exactly what San Francisco gives up. Like they give up outside zone runs, and Walker's tremendous at it. I think he averages almost 6 yards a carry. Problem is Charbonnet is 100% still involved in that offense and like a main cog of it. So for me, it's like I would love to take a chance on one of those guys, and maybe I'll have to literally take a 50-50 coin flip because I do think one of them will get there, but I don't know who it is. Like I could guess. I could say it confidently. I can say both of their names very confidently, but if I'm being honest, I don't think I can give you a true answer which one it's going to be. Does anyone know? Like that's just, I mean.
I find it kind of odd that of the 3 main split backfields, and I'll say there's 3.
Yeah.
Seattle and New England's were priced basically the same. So, like, if you have Walker and you wanted to play Sharp, you could be 50-50. If you had Ramondre and you wanted to play Travion, you could be, it's basically 50-50 this. They're $100 off or something. For Swift to be $1,000 more than Monungai, and we'll get to that when we get to that game at the end, but, like, that's a pricing thing that seems like the splits on that is about the same as these other 2 running back groups, yet you're really giving Swift a high note. Like, that would make me really want to look at Swift. I'd have to double check and see if Swift has actually seen anything extra red zone wise in the last few weeks.
I would
Like, he's definitely seeing usage, but they are also still using Manungai too.
That's exactly what it is. I think it's that they have more confidence that Swift is going to get the goal line touches and the touchdown because I know he got one last week. But they're both used that way, Gov. So to your point, it's like, should he be 1,000 more? Even if Swift has a
Yeah, I
slight.
think this should be the same sort of thing. Like, if you're going to make
Yeah,
Swift 6K,
yeah,
then Manungai should be 58. But
yeah,
really,
58,
I
57.
honestly think all 6 of those guys should be in that mid-5 range where they are. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of a little overpriced on Swift for me. But that's in this small, like, 4-gamer, even an overpriced dude, if he just gets the points, he'll be the guy you want.
The raw points
Like,
matter.
yeah.
Like CMC.
Raw points will matter. Like, CMC is very highly priced. JSN
Yeah.
and Puka are highly priced. If they are the number one wide receiver on the slate, you will need them.
And we saw it with Puka last week. It's like, yeah, Puka's a lot. Should we play down for Adams? And we did in a lineup. I paid up for Puka and plenty of them as well. I was happy at the end of the day because I paid up for Puka because he got the raw points. So, I mean, that's a brilliant point. You can fade CMC, but I think you're doing it only off of you're trying to purposely be different, which is okay. But know that this is a raw slate kind of week, and I think you'll need CMC's points. Or at least that's how I'm playing it.
Now, I'll admit, I'm a little afraid of Pumpkin Darnold showing up. I don't trust it.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't, there's nothing this defense has shown that should be able to stop him. It's just, will Shanahan, third time around, make an adjustment?
See, that's the problem with me, Gov. I think they will have a fine job on offense. That's why I would still play their weapons. Like, JSN is pretty much a lock for me because I don't see a game script in which the 49ers can lock down Seattle's passing game. Darnold might throw 2 interceptions because he's playing reckless, because he's just not controlling the game in the right way. But I think JSN would still get there based on volume.
See, and I've seen plenty of games this year where JSN didn't. Like, trust me, I had him in guillotine.
Yeah.
I've had him in plenty of things. Like, Pumpkin Darnold shows up, could be, but, like, more likely they try, if he looks like he's showing up early, they'll switch the game plan. They'll try to run the ball. They'll use Sharp and Walker a lot.
Yeah.
They'll limit what he throws. JSN won't get 10 targets. Like, I've seen games where JSN has 8 targets in the first half and doesn't catch a ball in the second half because all they do is run the ball.
That's actually where I agree with you. I think a Seattle running back is kind of needed in this slate. For myself,
if I'm playing one of those 5K running backs, I would prefer one of the Seattle ones. I will say that.
Right, and it's because Seattle wants to run the ball so much. And like, I just feel like even if they're having success, I feel like Walker is going to be involved in the passing game or Sharp, but like they're still going to use their running back.
Yeah. They're not going to be throwing it in the red zone. It's going to be rushing touchdowns. Like, you can kind of sort of think on that.
It looks like Tungus might be the highest owned tight end on this slate.
I can see that. Like, he's seen usage without Kittle. He's not the highest priced tight end, so you get some value.
Yeah.
Like, that makes perfect sense to me. Right. So I think we have a good sense of these two teams. All right. So next game, Houston and New England.
It's supposed to be a lot of weather, right?
I haven't even looked at weather in this game.
I think Donnie, who obviously is a Patriots fan, if you guys don't know, told me that potentially there could be a lot of snowfall even. But that sometimes helps the passing.
Snow games are fun, but that might not mean anything. Like, again, forget about weather. What are these teams? Before we start throwing weather and other factors in, what are these teams? So Houston, not an offense I have been happy with all year. Loved drafting Woody Marks in best ball. Nico should have been a stud wide receiver. Yeah. Kind of underperformed all year on offense. Like, even the Davis Mills week, CJ Stroud got hurt. Inconsistent, underperformed offense all year for Houston. Like, just consistently underperformed all year.
But because we didn't expect much from them, they were like the darling. They were the Cinderella story. They were the fun stuff. You could get Woody Marks late in best ball drafts. So when Woody Marks does anything, Gov, we overexcite it because it's like, well, we don't have much invested. That's just what this team felt like to me. It's like the team that we were excited for because you know what, they were the bargain bin. They were the exciting team that exceeded this value, that exceeded our expectations, and the only great thing they have, and it's great to watch, is their defense. Their defense is must see, blockbuster.
I
So
was
it was
about to
like,
say, like, that defense is the only reason they're in there. Like, their offense has not been able to go out and beat people,
yeah,
but their defense has caused every game to be okay. Can our offense just not fuck up?
exactly. But the offense was fun enough because there was all these like unknown, like fun
You
characters.
never knew who the running back was. You had Davis Mills for 3 weeks. They kept trying all the new young receivers.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, you're right. They had a lot of in and out and inconsistency that they were able to get through because of the Giants' massive gap in the defense.
which I think made us overlook the offense because, like I said, it's like, oh well, I can pay for Davis Mills, in DFS on a weekly basis because he's cheap enough, and then you can build your stacks around him. And it's like,
Um,
well, I have a piece of Houston, so I must be doing good.
I actually filled up the comments with some Patriot stuff.
Did you?
Yeah,
You
so
did.
I had Seattle take as well, but
We can.
Oh
We
yeah,
can.
I've been seeing your comments on that. Like, yeah, Houston giving up scrap. Like, I don't know. Like, Houston's defense has still been pretty good, and like,
they've been good, but the pass rush should be slowed down because it's supposed to be a snow game.
yeah. So that kind of slows down the pass rush, but still, like, if
It's hard to
I will say that, like, if you're saying the defense won't be quite as good because of weather, that's been the strength of Houston, and that really lowers that. Now, on the other side, flip side, so New England, you have what has been like Drake May's supposed MVP season when, and again, he's been playing very well. I'm not even really doubting that he's been playing quite well. Like, not saying anything against that. I will say the numbers show you as like, wow, you take a lot of sacks. Wow, you kind of don't have an offensive line. Wow, you're no real better than Justin Herbert. At least when it comes to the numbers. So, like, that could be untrustworthy when you're going up against a good defense. That would be my big weary in that. Now, New England's defense has been very solid all year, too. Like, I would say they're probably fourth.
See, I was going to play Darnold, but now the injury is kind of scaring me.
The oblique, yeah. Again, but their game plan is probably going to go through more Charbonnet and Walker anyway. It makes me think that JSN is the one expensive guy I'm willing to fade.
Yeah. I guess maybe I fell in love with the value so much of Higgins or one of the Bills guys. I don't know if I have to fade any of the superstars, but you're starting to convince me that maybe that's the one because whenever you find an injury late on a quarterback, it does. And Donnie, you're right. The concern that the Punkin Darnold might show up is there. I mean, the 49ers defense is not what they used to be in mid 2000s, but Darnold hasn't proven that he can like take over a bad defense anyways. So
Well, I mean, it's just a little. The only thing that's worrying me about Darnold in the Niners game is Seattle hasn't scored against the Niners, and they've been bad defensively all year. Maybe they're due for it, or maybe it's just a scheme issue.
That's true. Like, Shanahan's, that's why I'm like, it's a coach. That's a massive coaching game. That's San Fran. Whereas some of these other games should just be line up who's the better talent. Like, I think both night games are the massive coaching events. Like Seattle, San Fran, that's a coaching game. Rams, Chicago, that's McVay versus Ben Johnson. That's a coaching game.
Yeah. Are we moving on to the next game? Because I think
I was about to say, I have a good feel for Houston. New England's the one that I don't have a great feel for, but I feel like I got them pretty right when I go over them. Like, they've had a very good season offensively. Not really any hiccups. Mays looked like could be an MVP candidate. And the defense is probably one of the top 3 or 4 left in the tournament.
Yeah, the thing with the Patriots defense right now is Christian Gonzalez. He's trending towards playing, but he still hasn't cleared concussion protocol.
Ooh.
But Nico Collins looks like he will be out because of concussion. So
Yeah,
it's really a concussion race.
Yeah, they're trending in different directions on that race, though. One is definitely falling behind, and the other one looks like he'll clear.
I didn't feel like that was going to be the game of head cases. Wow.
Well, let's not forget Nico got carted off for his concussion, whereas Gonzo tried to play and he got pulled out after.
Yeah, the optics.
Yeah, but that's defense versus offense, maybe.
Yeah,
the defender's going to try to get back in there even when he's concussed. Nico Collins is not Cam Scatteroo.
And you could tell like he had already been banged up in that game. He knew like, okay,
Nico was coming in hurt, I believe.
Yeah, he was.
He was trying to play through something. I will say though, just quickly before we move on completely from Houston, I think Higgins is interesting because they have a very similar body type, a very similar role. I think Higgins would be the replacement for Collins.
Yeah, and
Higgins wouldn't be the replacement for Collins because
you don't think?
Justin Watson was in concussion protocol as well. So has he cleared?
I haven't seen.
Yeah, that's just another receiver. I know he doesn't get much work, but he's another body where it's going to negate some snaps. And
speaking
like will show up.
But speaking of body, I thought Higgins and Collins were similar body types and did similar things. I could be mistaken, but I think
Higgins is the best receiver left. It's just
I was going to say Higgins has just been playing already as the number 2.
Yeah, can he really match up
Kirk
against
had
those
his
corners?
big day last week after really Nico went out and had to be just him and Higgins.
But what I'm saying is I think Higgins would be the number 1 in that case.
No, I could see that game being another 17-3 stinker, and it's just bad.
It could be. It could be. Just because the defenses in a snow game could make it that way.
No, the Patriots want to dink and dunk down the field, right? That's the problem with the DFS.
It's hard to say that because Drake.
See, no, like that's not what I was saying. I'm saying like Drake May's had MVP almost the whole season. That's not dink and dunk. That's just their offense being efficiently good, running the ball and passing, hitting deep balls, everything.
Yeah, the deep ball has been the biggest thing for May this year. He's been one of the most efficient deep ball throwers in the league, and it's been at a good volume. So it's hard to say they want to dink and dunk. There's going to be probably a trick play because McDaniels has been dialing those up for a lot of the important games this year.
I will say, like, I think if they need short yardage, they probably will dink and dunk more than run. But I don't think that they're a dink and dunk short yardage offense.
Yeah.
Yeah, even the screen game is down for the Patriots. Usually they're a big screen team, and they're not this year.
I value that team. I just don't know what to do with them.
I don't either.
From a standpoint.
They have a lot of ways to go offensively. That's probably the one team left where I don't know where they're going to go offensively.
If you think they're going to throw, just play
Every other team is pretty condensed. I pretty much know where their offense is going to go. I don't know if New England's going to be hitting Booty, if he's going to be hitting Diggs, if he's going to be hitting Henry, if it's going to go through the run game. So I honestly don't know.
You're telling me if you're playing a Drake May stack, you got to play it through Diggs?
I think you should be, yes.
Again, the veteran players usually show up in the playoffs, so I would be willing to go that way.
Yeah. I would even
and like, don't forget, this is kind of a revenge game. Diggs was in Houston last year. So.
It is. He does get emotionally charged for these games.
He is an emotional guy, yeah.
All right, so last game on the slate, we have the Rams and Chicago. The Rams have what probably is the MVP of the league with Stafford. We know what they are. They are Stafford, Puka, Adams catches touchdowns. Oh, my God, they have a bunch of tight ends. And when they need to run the ball, Kyron and Corum just sort of are there.
Yeah, and the Bears look like they have the worst secondary left. I mean, their secondary is putrid. It's so injured. There's no one there.
Yeah, the Bears' defense is definitely bottom of this pack. Like, I'll say that. Like, I think they have the worst defense left.
I think overall their defense is okay, but, like, when they're healthy, but
San Fran's defense hasn't looked good, but I still think Chicago has the worst defense left.
Yeah, they just have no corners. Kyle Fuller will not be able to guard whoever he has to guard.
They lost they just haven't had a good secondary, but then they lost their best linebacker, I believe, last week. So
Edmonds came back in. I don't know if he's going to play this week, but
did he come back in? That's good to know because I know he was hurt late, so I wasn't quite sure on that. It stands though. The Bears defense is banged up. I expect a lot of points in this game. I'm trying to hit but Gov, you pretty much hit on it. They use a lot of tight ends. They use the three personnel a lot, so it is a very condensed offense. It obviously also is the highest scoring potential of the week. I think it's at like 52 points over under. So this is the game that people are going to attack for fantasy points, and I don't think it's a bad game to attack. Is there any bad angles or anything that's like really stands out that you think people are just going to get wrong about this game?
Don't play Mumfield. Don't play that wide receiver 3 for the Rams.
That's sort of what I'm like thinking. Like the
Don't get
Rams are
cute.
pretty condensed to their 2 receivers and their 3 tight ends. Yes, Mumfield might catch a ball because he'll be out there spelling at times. Like, are those guys going to play every once in a while? One of these 2 or 3 other Rams receivers, yes. But this is not going to play out the way it did during the week 18, where I'm like, you don't need to play K-Dot and it's getting too crazy, and then he's the tight end that catches a touchdown. No, this is not that. This is, you don't need the cheap Rams wide receiver Atwell or Mumfield or Smith.
If I am playing a cheap guy from the Rams, it would be Ferguson, just because Stafford does target him in the red zone. And he's under 3K, so he does get you different off of those like Bills receivers. But even that I know might be cosmetically too cute, but at least it has a purpose. Like, I'm getting off the receivers, I'm opening up a receiving spot and in a zone where most people are not, and I'm taking a chance very obviously on a touchdown or bust kind of play.
But I also think like if you're doing that, you're stacking that Ram. If you're getting as cute with that guy, like I'm not one-offing Ferguson.
No,
I think my favorite
not
play,
like just play the Bill receiver.
yeah.
I think my favorite play is the best route runner in the game with Devontae Adams. Just play Adams and say that Kyle Fuller is going to get torched.
Adams, like they wanted to give it to him last week, but like Horn and Jackson knew that they wanted to get him to him last week.
Right. There's no one who can out-physical Devontae Adams this week. It's just not happening.
And you could argue last week Horn was the best cornerback in the entire playoffs, and that's not coming through that door this week. So I agree. I do think I'll say this: you should have Puka or Adams in probably every lineup. I think I will, anyways.
I think a Rams player as a late hammer is the way to go. Now I don't hate if the Chicago wide receiver room were to get a little more condensed and say either Dunze or DJ Moore gets ruled out and not playing, then maybe that looks a little better to have a mini stack.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, I think I'd rather just go like Swift and a Rams receiver and from that game.
Yeah, or if you think like it's just like a blowout and the Bears don't push, you just play like Adams, hope he gets the touchdown, and play the Rams running back. Because you need to have the PMR. You need it, I think.
If you're playing the 4-gamer, you can't forget about that Rams-Chicago game. I will say that.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Rome Odunze wasn't utilized fully, but he was still utilized, and he was cheap enough. Burton's still at a level where if you think he's the number 2 and could see a lot of targets in a trailing game script, he is, valuable. There's a lot of good, interesting offensive weapons on this team that have question marks. The problem is the whole receiving on this whole slate. The receiving core is the question mark. I think the receivers are going to win you this slate, and however you arrange that.
I think it's just who you decide to stack at this point. If you stack the right game, you win. If you don't, you lose.
I agree. It's sort of like in a 3-gamer. If you get that one game environment right, then you're probably in. You just
now,
need
not
to get
saying
the right.
multiple games can't go off, but you need to have the one that goes off if it's only one.
So what is the priority of stack then? Assuming we could find value because of the Bills or because of tight ends, these are tight end teams. Even the Patriots have used tight ends more than some. So what is the priority stack that we want to make sure we jam in and then see if it fits around it?
Well, just by what we were discussing, I think the Rams and Chicago are the 2 best offenses left. So I think we just need to stack that game.
I would agree. When we were talking about all the games, I know Donnie came in late. We got him most excited for this Rams-Chicago game.
So I think that's the stack we go with. Now, which way we stack it, I probably just go Stafford. But
See, I think I would go Caleb for the rushing upside because that gives me the chance that he could still fail and get me there. Where I think if I play Stafford, I have to play him to win, right?
No, because they could lose 38-31.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Rams would win. I'm just one. I think Caleb gives me more outs, I guess. But I'll let you guys decide because I think both quarterbacks.
The only thing that scares me is, like I said, this could be a coaching game, and like coaching game could end up being 10-3.
I do want to say one thing before we like exactly pick our stack. The one thing I will not do in any lineup, I might even fade it in showdown. I will not play Brock Purdy. He has had stinkers against Seattle. He's struggled so much against that defense. It's been
That's
ugly.
my main stack of the week. Thanks for telling me that.
You just look at the numbers. He's really, really struggled.
He's been really good this year. They just haven't had any weapons.
That's fair, but Seattle didn't lose anybody in the secondary, so it's the same thing.
And that's why I like this year because we're very smart guys, but we come about it very differently, and so that's what makes this part of the show very interesting. We don't even have to pick a quarterback here. I just assume if we're going to stack this game,
I like Stafford this week or Darnold. Those are my two.
See, I can't trust Darnold, so like.
That's fine. So, I understand not trusting a pumpkin. I don't even really trust him.
Because I like this game, but I would go Caleb. Gov wanted to go Stafford, and Stafford is in your top two. So
right. I think the next decision is how many, if any, of the big three.
I want to get two, but I don't know if we can.
I think we have.
If we're getting two, it has to be CMC Puka because I'm not playing JSN.
Yeah.
Okay.
CMC is the best one for me.
Okay, so I agree. That's how I'd list it as well. CMC. I almost want to play Adams instead, just because I feel like I get almost the same level of value.
Playing Adams?
I don't mind putting in both.
I'm not against playing both. If you want to jam
Especially
both.
if we have Stafford with.
Let's see if we can jam both. Because most weeks we couldn't, but we have all that value from the Bills. We could
honestly like it's just that we probably need to pay up for one more solid running back. We're not going to be able to punt with a 4K running back, so we need to find one of those 5K guys or Swift to plug in, or like it's either Harvey, Swift, or one of those 5K guys to plug in as our.
I think it's Harvey. If we're choosing between that,
I think it's Harvey. He's probably the highest owners of those guys, but I think he is the best. Like we said, he's gotten the volume of 16 or 17 carries all week. He just hasn't had that explosive. He could definitely have that explosive against the Bills defense. They're not very good against the run.
All right, so what does that leave us? 32 per or so?
Yeah. So let's find the cheap tight end that we like.
I was about to say, we still have cheap tight end and cheap defense we can throw in to help get some money. So, let's do that real quick.
Yeah, what is Tonja's price? What is
Tonja's, I believe, is 34?
34, yeah. If we played the cheapest defense...
Well, we're not playing JSN, so you got to play the Niners defense. 32, that's not bad.
If we don't play JSN, we can play the Niners defense, right? Because we're not playing the running back.
Yeah, we can go Niners defense with CMC and hope for Pumpkin Darnold. I'm fine with that. That gives us the minimum salary defense. That's fine with me. And then, we could make it a triple stack with Stafford and go Higbee.
Yeah.
We could leverage everyone who's going to try to stack Loveland and play Komet.
I really kind of want to play like a Knox, honestly.
Knox is not bad either.
I do like
Josh
that because there's no receivers.
And Josh with no receivers, you only have 3 dudes to throw to. He'll throw to his tight end.
I will play Knox, but don't if we're gonna play one of the cheap Buffalo guys, don't then put in a Cooks or something like that. That'd be my only thing.
No, I would agree with that. If we're doing Knox, then we're probably staying away from Cooks and Coleman and Hardman.
Right.
We'll go with different cheap guys, but there are different cheap pivots. So now what are we at? Now we're at 30.
37 per.
Okay.
Do we have one cheap 3K-ish receiver like on Houston or Buffalo that we like?
I do know.
I kind of like Xavier Hutchinson.
We could go Higbee. I like Hutchinson. I like Noel, or we could just go Higbee and triple it up.
Yeah.
I could go double. That's the thing. I don't mind looking at double tight end and going like Higbee or something.
I just want to mention Pat Bryant is coming back this weekend.
That just scares me more off of playing a guy from Denver, if anything.
He has outsnapped Franklin in the past, so he could be the number 2. Probably. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't really like this.
Their number 1 is Sutton, and then they just cycle Mims and Franklin and all these other guys. They don't have a number 2.
I'd rather attack an injured core, not a healthy one.
What if we played the 2 tight end setup and we played Tunges or something like that?
I could do Tunges.
Yeah, I'd be fine with Tunges.
3,400 is way too cheap. That gives us 4K.
4K for a wide receiver. Okay. That puts us on Cooks.
Not playing Kyle Williams. Knowles there.
Again, I think I'd rather just play Hutchinson, and then we don't have to double tight end.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm saying that even if we went with Ferguson, I don't know if I really like. I guess.
So throw in Hutchinson, see what happens.
Throw in Hutchinson at wide receiver.
Change our flex.
He did get some work already.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, Higgins was already out there. So, like, if someone's stepping up without Nico, I think it's Hutchinson.
I think it is.
Wells seems to be a special teams guy.
It's the same price, though. So we're not saving anything this way. It's still the same spot.
It's true. And Noel did get some targets. He didn't catch a pass. I actually had his under. That's how I know. But he did get like 2 targets and didn't catch either one of them.
We could play Tonjes and go off the defense
but
as well.
Now okay, but it's with Hutchinson there now at flex. We can go up off of we could still play Tunges, but honestly, we could also play AJ Barner or Parkinson. Like, again, we have Stafford. I don't mind tripling Stafford with Parkinson.
Right. Yeah, that's fine as well.
Or we put in Tunges and get off of Knox and play like AJ Barner or Parkinson or something. Like, really, we could play any other.
I like Tonjes more than
Knox.
Knox. I like Tonjes more than I like Knox.
I like Tonjes in this lineup with whatever we decide.
Like, now maybe we could do something like, let's see. Yeah, get off of Knox and go to Tunges, and then that leaves us, 39?
Because now we could play a Coleman or something like that.
Yeah, see, now you could go to, like, Young Coleman or something from Buffalo. That would be my thought. Play the Buffalo wide receiver and then a different tight end.
I think we almost have to play a deep Buffalo piece, though, just because.
I would do Coleman's their best physical specimen that we can afford.
And he is.
Yeah, I wish we'd have to go down from Tunges to someone else to play Cooks, but that would be the other one to do. But
what I like about Coleman is he is a bailout guy. Like, if anyone's going to make a spectacular catch with Josh Allen just being Superman and having to tug at the cape, it's going to be like Coleman making a ridiculous catch and then dropping an easy one. But at least he'll make the ridiculous one and get us more points. That's kind of the game I expect.
Yeah. Can we get up off of the defense just to see? Can we afford another defense? I'm not even sure.
I think we can, but I don't remember what defense it is.
We can afford a couple.
We could get to the Bills, which would be interesting. I mean, me and Gov talked about that off the top of the show, how they might be sneaky, and we're only playing Hutchinson.
We're playing Harvey against the.
Harvey. That's right.
Yeah, I'm not against that.
I don't hate just having the Niners defense in there again. Like,
it correlates with CMC, so that's kind of why I like it.
I just want.
And we're not playing a Seattle piece on the other side, so I don't mind it.
Yeah, we can just throw in the Niners.
So does anyone have some peace? I know Gov has a hard out here in a few minutes, so we're going to get him out of here and get you guys out as well.
I honestly don't. I don't hate any of this. We have 500 left over. Like,
do we have any? Can we move up a running back at all just to see?
We could Harvey to Kyron.
Do we? No, that's too much Rams.
Yeah, Donnie does not like the triple stack fan. I know.
And Harvey would have to go down to like Swift to give us. See, that's the other thing. If we did Harvey down to Swift, then Coleman could be like Cooks, or Tunges could be like.
Well, if we just put Tunges to Knox, then Coleman could be Cooks.
Let's see.
That's 100 difference right there.
Yeah, but then we're playing Knox and Cooks with no. I don't want to play Knox and Cooks with no Josh Allen.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
So I don't hate what we have right here. Like, again, leaving a few hundred is fine on the table. You don't have to be stupid about that. This is a pretty solid lineup, what we were talking.
Speaking of stupid, some people didn't even produce a show this week. We gave you a full breakdown each game, tried to hit on them as quick as we could. All within 50 minutes, gave you a lineup, gave you some of our player pools. You can obviously see where we disagree, where we agree. Hopefully this helps you. We got to get Gov out of here. Hopefully we can get you out of here as well. Under an hour. I'm pretty proud of this. Good luck this week, guys. This is like the last big week where some game strategy is involved. So, dive in, read injury reports, have fun with it, bet within your limits. We'll be back on Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday. See ya.
Peace out, everyone.